And we start with an Ontario Liberal MP who's quitting his post for telling Tory MPs to go back to Alberta for being too provincial on energy issues. We're talking about David McGuinty, brother of outgoing Ontario Premier Dalton McGuinty. Yeah, he's stepping down as his party's natural resource critic, and there's a lot of reaction from all sides of the political spectrum. So we bring in our Brigitte Pellerin live in Ottawa to discuss this. And of course, we were talking about story ideas last night, and you had one. It was to talk about this story. And then about 2 seconds later, we said, oh, I guess we're going to talk about his resignation from the position.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to our American friends. We even brought our own turkey to celebrate. Listen, poor David McGuinty. He did that on himself, though. This is the absolute best definition of a political suicide that he did, this comment. And I must give a very good tip of the journalistic hat to my colleague Danielle Prusalides, who was, he was covering that committee meeting earlier this week, and after the meeting was chatting with David McGuinty. And Daniel's not one of those guys trying to get the politician right. He's very fair-minded. He's a very good reporter. He's sitting, talking and trying to get his reaction. And Mr. McGuinty just, offered this. Obviously, this is what we call an unforced error. And so obviously his comments about, go back home, you silly Albertans with your Alberta concerns, this was very, very, very damaging to the Liberal brand in general, not just to Mr. McGuinty's political career. And I think that a lot of people understood that. I mean, you even had Joan Crockett, who's the Conservative candidate in the by-election in Calgary Centre, who, obviously jumped on those comments yesterday. This is what we call room service in the business, right? When somebody makes that kind of mistake, you pounce on it. Obviously, Stephen Harper did the same thing. Bob Rae knew right away that this was a big problem for his party. Even Justin Trudeau knew this was a big problem for his party. So, of course, near the end of the day, Mr. McGuinty did the best thing he could do under the circumstances, which was to apologize. And he did so very well, by the way. And here's the text, at least part of it, of his apology. As a member of Parliament for Ottawa South, I would like to unreservedly and unequivocally apologize for comments which I made with respect to parliamentary colleagues from the province of Alberta. My words in nowhere reflect the views of my party or leader, and I offer my apology to them as well as my colleagues from Alberta. And then he went on to say that he was quitting his job as critic for his party. And this came after, of course, Bob Rae had already apologized for the comments and had already been in full damage control over this during the afternoon. And we have a clip of Bob Rae, and we'll roll that, and so you could see exactly, it shows exactly he knows how damaging this was to his party. Take a listen.
I certainly would apologize. I don't think it's. I don't think his remarks were helpful. I don't think they really reflect what he was trying to say. I think that he was expressing some exasperation with the difficulty of getting the committee to look at a national approach on energy. I think the way in which he expressed himself was unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate. That's one way of putting it, Mr. Rae. Mr. Harper, the Prime Minister, of course, in the House of Commons, did not mince words as to exactly what that meant. And he went on and took advantage of this and made sure that people remembered the National Energy Program. Take a listen.
I find it shameful, I guess not surprising, but shameful, that after 30 years after the National Energy Program, these anti-Alberta attitudes are so close to the surface in the Liberal Party.
So if you see Conservative victories in the ridings that are currently going for by-elections on Monday, there's one in British Columbia, one in Calgary Centre, and then there's one in Durham. That probably won't play as much in Durham, Ontario, as it would in Calgary Centre. If you see the Conservative victory there, I think you will have to thank Mr. McGuinty.
Indeed. So what will the fallout be of a comment like this, which plays very big, I guess, in Ottawa? But what's the fallout moving forward for a guy like David McGuinty? Will it hurt in, let's say, by-election chances? Would it hurt, let's say, his brother if he chooses to run on the federal level?
Absolutely. This is going to make it into every single political ad, an anti-liberal political ad for anybody who's, not a Ottawa-centric kind of politician. That's a lot of people. Absolutely. This will bring it. It will be brought back over and over and over again, and we are not done hearing that comment, even though he did apologize very well. Yeah. And I think at some point people ought to move on, but politics being the blood sport that it is, you can expect it will come back.
Just very divisive, and of course Justin Trudeau, leadership hopeful, could not have run far enough away from the comments.
No, of course, they pride themselves on being the big tent party. Well, this was not a very big tent kind of comment, was it?
No, but Bob Ray came out and handled it, I thought, very well. And
he did the best he could under the circumstances, which were really terrible.
Yeah. All right. Brigitte, thank you.
Thank you.